Hello. Is anyone out there? Don't pay attention to my dirty room. Hi. Okay, so took a second for me to find my video. I want to make sure I can watch and see some of the comments as we're going along. Of course, there's a delay, so remember that. We do have some team members on to answer questions if there's any questions. So I look like I'm looking off at an angle, but I want to make sure that we're together, and when I switch you to up top, that you'll be able to see my page or my workspace evenly. So it's been a while. How are you guys? I'm glad to be here today. I am going to be playing with the new Fancy Flowers kit. I know some of you have your hands on it. No, it just released yesterday. Maybe I'm the only one that has my hands on it, except for maybe Ginger and Donna and Tammy. Oh, yeah, Tammy's leaving. You saw that. I know you did. That's a shame, but she's on to bigger and better adventures, and we're certainly going to miss her here. But today we are celebrating National Scrapbooking Day. So you know that we're going to get gifts for purchase sales. So I wanted to show you these little gems that you get for a $50 purchase. They're like they could be little Post-it notes, or I think they were designed to make sure that you don't lose can you see it? Can you see it against my shirt? You don't lose your little acetates. And I'm going to tell you what, I've been through a lot of sticky notes because I think this was Donna's idea and Donna's idea. And I've been through sticky notes galore, keeping track of that. So I'm going to take these cues, I'm going to use it, but then I'm going to stick it to my wall where I stick my foam tape and keep reusing them. So today we're going to do a layout, but I wanted to first show you my pretty cards that I made with the floral kit. This is the rose. I like the rose as a shaker much better than I like it flat, but on the layout that I'm going to make today, we're going to use it flat. But I like it because you don't add a center to the rose, or I'm not going to add a center to the rose, so I like it raised up and it's just shaker. But this card right here I did with all the little, can you see it? Can you see me? With all of the little, like centers of the flowers, but I use them as flowers themselves. And I created this little clump, and this shows you what more you can do with those little flowers. And then I created this slim line. Who doesn't love a slim line? Oops. Am I wrong side? Can you see? Is it right side for you? Oh, I think I'm backwards. Sorry. Anyway, I love the white. I did punch a whole bunch of these white daisies out and trim them up and cut them off the edges. And I think it's beautiful. Beautiful. And then, of course, I did a rainbow. I had to sneak a rainbow in there somewhere. And these colors are so pastel-y that, is that even a word? Pastel-y, that I wanted to make sure that I used every single color. So you got what, 13 colors, I think, of toppings in this kit. And I used one color per section. So it actually ended up being perfect. So very fun. So let's get going. I am going to base today's layout on this card that I made, which out of the 4 that I did make was Wendy's favorite. So we're going to recreate this, but we're going to put it on a layout. So bear with me. You should have seen me an hour ago. I wasn't prepared. And I'm prepared now. So I'm going to take you up there, and I'm going to make sure that you guys can see properly, I hope, and we will get going. So hold on a second. We should be more professional than this, or I should be more professional than this, and we need Ginger to teach me. So I'm going to move you up. So close your eyes for a sec so you don't get sick, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'll see you in a sec. I'm hoping that this is far enough away so you can see everything pretty well. I got to wait for my computer to catch up with that that delay that we have. I can even bring it down closer if you think. Anyway, let's talk about this card right here. So I'm going to put these aside. In our Fancy Florals or Fancy Flower kit, Fancy Flower, you get several of the dies. And you may have already seen this with Donna the other night when she was sharing, but you get 3 different leaves, which you can layer, which I find very, very exciting. This is absolutely my favorite flower, but I challenged myself to use the others as well. So we're going to use every single flower today. And it may sound like a lot, but I'm going to show you how you can put every flower on a layout, make it look good. So we are going to go big or go home is what I told Wendy earlier. We're going to do it up. So I can't share or show you very many of the toppings that come in the kit because I've pretty much used them all. But here are the 3 that I am going to use live with you today. But all the other colors are pretty much gone. But you can buy those. You can buy a refill. You can get every single color. You can get foam refills, which I highly recommend that you get. Here is the stamp set that comes with it. I believe I may add this later. I want to do Best Mom Ever. If we have time today, we'll add it. If not, I'm just going to set it aside and I can add it when I add my title to the flower. So today, with the kit, you also get these 2 paper pads. I love the solids. Girls, get the solid. You will not regret it. You can do really pretty leaves. You can do bases of your flowers, whatever. So grab the solid when you buy the floral. And I also snuck in a little bit of the Ocean Friends solids just because I needed a little more color. And you'll see in a second. I used the purples, I think, is mostly what I did. So I did get started ahead of time. And I'll show you that in a second. But first, we're going to finish putting this little flower together. I'm going to give you one of my tips because oftentimes I don't get the outline dies. I had to think of the word. The outline dies quite yet because I'll get the kit before they might come in or she'll send them to me later. So we're working today without the outlines, or I am working today without the outlines. Hopefully you got them because if you have an opportunity to, I highly recommend it. They just make your life a lot easier. But I'm going to show you how, if you are trying to be frugal, trying to spread your bucks to buy other kits and things like that, which we completely understand. I'm going to show you how you can do your flowers without having the outline dies. But again, if I were to recommend anything to you, I would recommend getting the flowers. So I cut out the flower. Where did he go? Of course, I'm going to play with my favorite one today. I cut out the flower with this brighter yellow. On the back of the flower, or when you take it off of your die cutting machine, all of these little pieces fall out of the center, right? Yeah. Well, you've got to piece that back together for an outline or to create a base to build off of if you want to move around your items. Now, if you're going to connect it directly onto your card and not move it around, you can go ahead and just put the foam down, fill the center, whatever. But if you're going to move it around, not sure where you want to place it, you're going to want to cut out a base, fill back in all of those spots, which aren't that difficult if you don't make a mess like myself. And you want to cover the back of it like I just did. And you saw me piece a couple more pieces of tape on there with some regular tape. Because if you have any spot that can move and you're moving it around, that could release, that could open up a little and all your toppings can fall out. So you don't want any spot that could be an opening for all those goodies to seep out and go all over the floor and in a carpet like mine, and then you can't find them. So you can see here there's some tape in the back. All you do is get your pieces and then go back to the front and stick them all in like this. And then you can see I've created myself an outline, but it's got all the details. So this is my base that I'm going to work off of. You can do it in white cardstock if you're just going to cover it, or you can do it in a solid color, and you won't have to piece in these colors once you see it. So when you place your foam down, those circles will be empty. And I should have popped this because this one right here, super easy to use because it won't bend out of shape. Some of our foams will bend out of shape. Like this one might bend out of shape because it's got a great big wide opening in the center. You'll want to keep that foam piece together, put it down, and then remove the center. For this one here, you can take everything out because it's such a solid piece with the solid center that it's not going to bend out of shape. I'm sure it could, but it most likely won't. So I'm going to take my back off like so. You guys are pretty much experts by now at doing the foam shakers and things like that. I just wanted to show you something. So I'm going to put one of them together and then I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off our layout. So we are putting this guy together. I lined it up pretty well. My other yellow flower that's on my layout, I will be mad at you if you look too close because that sucker is bad. I was way off center. It stuck down on my paper. I couldn't get my paper up. So we all make mistakes, and unfortunately, or fortunately, sometimes we can just live with it. We can use an X-Acto knife to trim up some of those pieces, or pick, scissors, sharp scissors to cut some of that off. This is just like cornstarch or baking powder and a little tiny tool. We've talked about it before. It's EK Tools, or there's sometimes Stampin' Up, I think, has a little bag of powder. It just gets in the crevices so that things aren't staticky. So I am going to find my gems that are going to go in the center. I am going to tell you that this morning there was a huge mishap. I had a beautiful concoction of goodies. See that? What I just did happened earlier, but at a much larger scale. So even her design team makes a mess sometimes. It happens. We all do it. I just try to find them. We should all get those little tiny vacuums that suck up only our gems and use it to just collect things in our rooms on the floor. Now I'm wondering now if these little flowers are just not a little bit too big to be put in here. So we are going to do a little change, and that's okay. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to put them back in there. We're going to set that aside because, again, I will make a mess, and I'm just going to dig these back out. And one of the tips and tricks that we have is to huff inside your bag. See how that's all staticky? I know you can see that. I hope you can see that. I don't know if it focused, but you just huff inside of it like you try to blow smoke rings in the winter. Well, that might be just for us New England girls. And then I'm just going to use the bag to create a little funnel. Now I got a little too many in one spot, but that's okay. We're going to, we can pick those right back up, put them in, and then I can, the one that I have a little too many in, I can just remove them with our little pink tool. The tool that is my favorite tool of the release that came out a couple months ago. You know, the little triangle table, the little triangle dish here and the circle dish and all of that. This right here was released at the same time, and it's my favorite. Now, a lot of you wonder what the pink end is for, what the pokey end is for. The pink end, I'm just picking up these gems and I'm moving them to where I think I want to separate them out. Now I've got more in some, less in others, and I might just take this one. I might not use the other color, but this pink sticky end is perfect for this. So huff again on the new color. Start here because I knew I was going to drop too many out, and then I'm going to put. Now I like to fill my, maybe not that much, but I like to fill my shaker holes quite a bit. I want them to shake, but I also want them to be pretty hefty, pretty full. I know some people like them a little more sparse than I do. You do what you like. This is your card. This is your project. This is for your person. You do what you like. So I did get too many yellows over here, so I got to bring them over to the holes that maybe don't have as many. And this is hard to get out of this because I've got too many. It won't touch the ground for me to be able to get a little grip on it. So let's move one of these over here. Over here. This one has too many too. It does have to be able to press up against something pretty hard to be able to pick it up and move it, but I think I like that. Oh, well, let's move one more over to this guy. This guy looks a little empty. I think I like it. Now, if you've got it to your satisfaction, then this is when we want to find our sticky note with the plastic on it. And I'm going to make sure that I know exactly where it goes. I put one on backwards earlier today, and I had to take it off, peel it off, and make a mess, and that's when I spilled all of my stuff. So I use this pokey tool too. Now you can move this tool to nudge things. You can use this tool for almost anything, but I'm going to use it as a finger to hold down my flour so that it doesn't like come up and jerk and spill all my goodies all over the place. So let's see if I can do this because I'm on camera. There we go. Not bad, not bad. I didn't spill any yet. So, and then since this is the proper way, I think I'm going to use my sticky note just to keep it going. And then when you're going to set it down, I believe it is, see, we all do it. We need to take a short break. Here's your, what is it on HBO when I was a kid? You could take a little intermission during the movies on HBO. Is that telling how old I am? Anyway, let's take a short intermission while Marianne cleans up her mess. Okay, it's back. It's back. I'm back. That was a mistake. Don't do that. I'm just showing you what not to do when you have already committed to sticking. Commit. Don't peel it back up like I did, or you'll need an intermission. All right, stick it down. It's off center. Is it a big deal? Absolutely not. Are all of my holes at least covered? Yes. So then at this point, I can go around and I can trim off some of the acetate that I can see that's really large over the edges so that they won't see when I do place my paper down. As long as my holes are covered, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Nothing, no one is even going to know the difference. This happens to me all the time. And I mean all the time. Like every time. And I'm super happy that you guys get to witness how messy I am. But it comes together in the end. And your recipient will never even know. But all your friends on Facebook live videos will know. And your boss will know. It's okay. She hasn't fired me yet. She probably won't fire me for this little mistake. So, okay. So usually it's easier than that. It could be, let's blame it on the glare for my glasses, which I need replaced, for the adhesive, for my lighting. Let's just blame it on the glare. And let me make sure I got all those pieces off. I thought I saw a piece that was just stuck here. Okay. Let's see. Now I'm going to add, I tried to stick with light color, so I did yellow with yellow. So you really can't even see the bright yellow, but that's going to look good. I won't be able to see any of the adhesive. So recently I got a new jar of, or a new bottle of sheer glue. And where is it, you ask? That is a very good question. I cannot find it. Did my kid take it for his project for school? It's possible. And again, like, I'm going to blame something else, not myself for it. I blame him. I blame the new glasses that I need. Where is that? Sunglasses that I need. Oh, here it is. So anyway, or new glass. I don't know what I'm saying. Just scratch that. Let's put this back on. Remember to try to get this in good placement as well, because if you move this one around, you will have ink or glue smeared all over the place. So look at my little beautiful gem. Well, I'll use this one to show you. Our friend, our very kind friend, made these for us. And for you guys to see how she did the back of it, because I don't know if a photo was placed or on the link or a photo for her to show you how they did the back, but her and her husband have made these and I absolutely love them. So by now my glue should be pretty well adhered where I can move on. And then I cut a few little beautiful gems to do the center of my goodie. And I'm going to use a little tiny small piece of foam tape because I want a little bit of dimension. Now, if my foam tape is a little too big, it's okay because I plan to put a bauble over the top, which will cover up the foam tape anyway. So on my layout, I did use a bunch of baubles. I did use some, some of the inside tiny, I used some of these as flowers. I also used, goodness, what else did I use? I'll show you in a sec. And I'm gonna show you how I made the card so pretty. Look how pretty that is when I double layered that center. Isn't that beautiful? I just, 2 different papers will get you that look. 2 different papers and then layering them off center. So since it's a wet adhesive, I'm going to leave it for a second, but I'm going to put the new baubles in there. Now these released with the last release and I love them. And so my next thing I always do is zhuzh, is that a word? Up the floral pieces. Maybe that's a little too much. Some of them a little more than others. And then you've got yourself a really pretty center of the flower. Will it squish in my layout or my album? Most likely, in my album, but most likely it will. However, it'll look pretty for the photos and to show you guys, if you hand deliver a card with one of these flowers, you can make it all zhuzhed up if you want to, make it pretty for the recipient. So you can see I did the same things here. I just raised them up a little bit. So let's set this aside because we are going to, let me shut this. So we are going to take a look at what I've already done on my layout. Oh, look, here's a loose topping. All right, so I've already completed this part of the layout. I was putting this together just a little while ago. Again, I used the same style for my card that I'm using on my layout, but I was able to get 3 photos in here of me and my mama. So I absolutely love it. We are going to add a little bit of paint. So I did the yellow. I'm going to zhuzh up these little flowers in here a little bit. You can use your fingernail. You can use the tool. If you don't have fingernails and chew them like I do, you might need a tool. But you just lift them up just a tiny bit and then it'll give it some dimension and some character. So my flower that I have is going to go right in here. So I'm going to add some adhesive. And again, I'm going to use a wet adhesive so that it will stay, not move. I will also have a little bit of time to move it around if I need to. If I used I want it to go this way. If I used dry adhesive, it may take a little bit longer for it to dry. So pretty much, I was able to create this whole layout a little earlier, and I wanted to show you the tip on the back of the flower that we made, but I want to show you how we're going to add a little more character with some white paint. But look how beautiful all of these work together like a big floral bouquet. And like I said, I only used the purple from the Ocean Friends kit. So you could use cardstock that you have on hand. There's a lot of flat flowers here, but look at the dimension. You'd never know it was a flat flower because dimension, if you layer colors, you get a bunch of dimension and it looks like a completely different flower than an all one color flower. So I just got myself a little little bucket here, and I'm going to put a little bit of acrylic paint in there. If I can get the top open. And it's only going to be a little, because I don't need a lot. So see, just a little. And people are doing this all over the place, and I think you'll like it. If you can keep yours plain if you want. It's still just as beautiful as it is. I'm going to grab some water. And I'm going to mix the water with the paint. And I'm going to backtrack for a second because we didn't add any of these pretty leaves. There's 3 different leaves in the kit, like we said. I really like to take a solid leaf with a different color leaf over the top of it and offset them so it looks like 2 leaves. These leaves have a perforation down the center, so I love to fold them a little to get a little bit of a bounce in those as well. So it's okay that this wasn't a full cut leaf because I'm going to tuck it anyway. So I am going to add a little bit of adhesive. And I want to add these before I add my tape because I want tape, before I add my paint, because I want that acrylic paint on my leaves as well. I want it all over everything except for my photos. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to stick it right in here. Let's hope I can get that in there and not take away from my photo. So we have a leaf here. We can take this guy. I got all kinds of different colors. You can do however you would like, but I do like to add the dimension by folding them. Oh, I like this one. This is a little different. All right, I'm going to do that. You can layer them. You can team them up together. You can do whatever you would like. So I'm going to put another great big flower down here in this. I'm going to turn my layout. What I'm going to do is actually take the leaf and cut it, and then it'll make 2 different, it'll make a smaller piece so I don't have to lift up the flowers that are already there and try to stick the whole leaf underneath. Does that make sense to you? So we'll stick that right in here. A little bit of the flower anyway. There we go. It's okay if it goes off the page. I can trim it, or I can fluff it up or maneuver it. I like these a lot too. So let's get one of these in here. Oh, I love this a lot. Let's go with this leaf, this little raggedy leaf. Let's get adhesive behind both of those, and let's do a double grouping right here because we have a little more room. So I'll stick that down. I'll fold it in the center like so. Give this guy a little dimension like this, and then let it fall back down. Let's see, where else do we need a little leaf? We can put a leaf right in the center if we want. I love this. Let's put one right here for the rose. Just a little baby. And then we can cut this again. We don't need the whole leaf. Let's put that a little bit. You want to be careful with the tape runner because it does leave some of the adhesive showing. But we'll put this one under here as well. Just layering over that other one just a little bit. Let me lift my rose a little. There we go. And then this one we'll add somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to have 5. How about right under this blue guy? Right here. Right in the center. Set that down. Now we have our leaves added, which add even more color and more beauty to the layout. So again, going back to the paint now, I took some scraps. I just don't want anything to get on my photos. So I'm just tucking these in to cover as much of the photos as I can. Like I said, they're just scrap papers. I'm going to get a little bit of water in there, and I want to move as much as I can because I did make a huge mess with this before. Ink went everywhere for me. So I'm just going to tap and drop a little bit of acrylic ink. All right, pick up a little bit more. I'm okay with bigger drops, little drops. Okay, and I definitely want some on my flowers. See how this comes together? And you get a lot of detail with just a little bit of splatter. And I think it's kind of pretty. It's not controlled, that's for sure, but don't take it too far out of your space or you will have a serious mess. If you want controlled dots, you can drop your tip onto the leaves or onto your flowers, however you want to do that. And once that dries, I will add my title, and then we've got a finished layout. I hope you enjoyed this, or you learned something, or you were inspired to get out your paints that you probably have from when you were younger or whatever. Maybe your children have paints, but I'm going to leave this right here. I'm not going to touch it for a little while. I'm going to take off my little pieces of paper. And now I have ink everywhere except for on my layouts. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I will answer any questions that are in the comments a little bit later. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for coming.